Hey y'all, it's your Missniecytv and I'm here to do a review for Divorce Sistas Season 1, Episode 4. The episode picks up with Naomi coming into the banquet drunk. She's sitting there cussing everybody out, cussing Franklin out, cussing his wife out. So everybody tells her to sit down and drink some coffee. She ain't trying to hear that. Bridget brings her the coffee. She drinks some of the coffee, but she drinks it obnoxiously, and William was like, that's one way to drink it. This is the time Naomi realizes that Franklin's wife has her earrings on that he gave to her as a wedding gift, so she calls that out, and Franklin's like, don't pay her no. Rashida's like, I think it's time to start the auction now. So they start the auction, and the first item that they're giving away is a 100-year Bible. Don't ask me how they know that the Bible's from 100 years ago. Franklin's like, we should buy the Bible and give it to Naomi because she's the devil and she needs it the most. Naomi's like, no, I'm not the devil, you are. That's when Jeff has a conversation with Rashida, and he's like, we need to get Naomi out of here. I don't even know why she's here. We need to get her out of here. Rashida's like, I can't do that. That's my friend. Jeff is not trying to hear all that, and that's when Myron steps in and he's like, Pastor, we need to get security on her. I'm like, Myron, who are you to have authority to say who can stay and who can't? This is when Javon steps in because he notices that things are going left. But before that, Naomi peeps the lives with Javon and Tiffany. And she's like, are you guys on a date? Geneva steps in and she's like, no. Are you playing your hand really bad? Because why would you interject like that? Like you got a problem with it in front of your husband. But Javon does tell Naomi that she's a beautiful woman, and he's trying to distract her from everything that's going on. So he's like, you're a very beautiful woman. I'm not trying to sound creepy or nothing, but you would be a very good person to photograph. Naomi's like, oh, thank you. And then Javon's like, I would actually like to do a photo shoot with all of you. Tiffany's like, I didn't know you take pictures. Javon's like, yeah, I'm not a photographer professionally, but they're talking it's time for the second item to get auctioned. And you know what's getting auctioned? Naomi's painting that was in her house. And Naomi's like, what? So Franklin steps up and he's like, before you go auction this off, I would like to give a little backstory on this painting. So he goes into the story about how this painting was painted by Naomi's dead brother who had a heroin addiction, and he never really liked the painting, and that's why he's auctioning it off. I don't know how Franklin was able to stay up there and say all that, because if that was my friend, I would have went up there and snatched the mic out of his hand, because what are you doing? Jeff is honestly letting him stay up there because he's trying to get money out of Franklin, because Franklin is a billionaire. So the auction starts, and Franklin's like, $5. Then it went to $10 because somebody tried to get it for $5. Tiffany decides to try to get it for $20,000. Franklin's not having that because he really wants to torture Naomi. So he's like, $5 million. But he's like, if it really means a lot to somebody, I would like it for $37 million, which he took from me in my divorce. Franklin was so wrong for that. So he comes back and sits down at his seat. And Naomi's like, I gotta go. But I'm thirsty. So she picks up the coffee pot that Bridget brought to her earlier. She threw the coffee on Franklin's wife's back. Mind you, the girl gets burnt with coffee. She stands there for a minute and she falls. Who does that? I'm following immediately. Everybody's like, call the ambulance. Franklin's like, arrest her. Mind you, Pastor Jeff gets burnt in the process, but I don't think it's burned or anything. Then we see everybody go back to the suite so that they could wrap their minds around what happened in the situation. And everybody's trying to figure out who's going home with who, so somebody can go check on Naomi, right? Javon volunteers to take Geneva home. Geneva's like, I'm not going home with you. I'll ride with William. William's like, I'll go check on Nika and relieve the nanny, so you go ride with Javon. Bridget volunteers to take William home. William agrees to go home with her. William's like, I'll take the pastor home. Rashida's like, no, you will not. Rashida wants to go check on Naomi. Jeff is not having it. So he's like, you're the first lady. You want to go check on your friend who just did this, but you don't want to go check on the woman that was hurt and her husband gave us $5 million. What kind of first lady are you? Everybody sees that to fight. He was like, let's not do this right now. I'll go check on Naomi and I'll go. Mind you, Myron is sitting over there. He's like, I'll take the pastor home. He puts his hand on the pastor's thigh, looks at his wife and says, I'm taking the pastor home. She is like, I bet you would. But Myron, you have more feelings for the pastor than just being his assistant and his right-hand man. Either y'all already do the bending or you want to have a chance for y'all to do the bending. Then we see Bridget in the car with William, and she's talking about how Vaughn acted a fool and how he needs to get it together. And William's like, well, if things don't work out with Tiffany and Javon, you could... William is like, you're definitely going to find somebody better. And Bridget's like, I love the way that you love my friend. William's like, yeah, she's my soulmate and I love her so much. I feel so bad for William because William is the type of person who sees the good in everybody and he wants everybody to be happy and great. But Geneva's about to break your heart when you find out. Especially when she tells you that she had an affair with Javon and Anika's not yours. that is going to crush William's world. You see Rashida and Pastor Jeff still having the same old argument about you're not there for your family. You don't even check on your son like that. Your son is out here hanging out with the wrong crowd and you don't even try to get him straight. Pastor Jeff has the nerve to say, aren't you supposed to do that? Rashida's like, I could, but it sounds better than coming from his father. Jeff starts talking about how Rashida shouldn't be friends with Naomi and he's starting to look at her differently if she condones Naomi's actions. And Rashida's like, I don't condone it, but she had every right to because he left her and got that girl pregnant. You got me up here going to this hospital pretending like I care when I really don't. Then she's like, Myron's very attracted to you. I see the way that you. Jeff is like, you think every man and woman is. Rashida's like, no, this is different. Well, then Jeff goes into the conversation of, I don't know how to please you anymore. And Rashida's like, well, try sleeping with your wife more than just twice a month. Then we see Tiffany, Geneva, and Javon in the car together. Javon's on the phone talking to some judge like he knows to try to help Naomi's situation. He's basically like, she has a court appearance that she needs to show up to. Are you sure she's going to show up? Because if she doesn't, it's going to be on my butt. And Geneva's like, yeah, she'll show up. And Tiffany says, yeah. Tiffany starts bringing up how she likes what Javon did for Naomi at the table. Javon is like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then they start bringing up the whole photo shoot thing. And Javon's like, yeah, I'm very good at pictures. I actually took pictures of Geneva. Tiffany's like, well, how come I never seen them? Javon is like, are they that bad that you don't want to show nobody? Geneva's like, I just don't know where they are. Tiffany keeps taking it on like, I want to see them, I want to see them. Geneva ain't trying to hear all that. She's like, can we not focus on these pictures right now? Can we focus on Naomi? Geneva's like, I don't need no distractions right now. Tiffany's like, my bad, I'm sorry. Like, dang, I didn't know. Tiffany, what you just don't know is that there's a lot of tension in this car, and you're adding to the tension by being in this situation. So Tiffany, Javon, and Geneva finally make it to the jail. Geneva gets a call from William saying that he relieves the nanny, and he's calling to check on Javon and Tiffany, see how they doing. Geneva's not trying to hear all that. Not trying to see all that because she don't want Javon to be with Tiffany. She really wants to be with Javon, and seeing Javon and Tiffany laughing over there while she's on the phone is eating her up inside. William is trying to make conversation with her, telling her that she looked good tonight and how it reminded him of prom when they went together. He's very short with him and she's basically like, yeah, I'm not trying to hear that. He tells her that he loves her and she hangs up the phone. Geneva is absolutely miserable seeing Tiffany and Javon laughing and stuff and getting along. I would hate for Javon to be the reason that Tiffany and Geneva aren't friends anymore, but Geneva, are you really Tiffany's friend if you don't tell her that you had a next thing we know, we see Rashida and Jeff finally make it to the hospital. Don't ask me how Myron got there, but he's there too. And we see Franklin, and he's coming out of his wife's room all irate to greet the pastor and his wife. He's basically like, Naomi did this, she hurt me and mine, and Franklin's like, so you agree with what she did? Rashida's like, no. But I know that you're trying to play games with her, and she's trying to play games with you, and both of y'all need to stop. Franklin then proceeds to call Naomi the B word. He tried to call Rashida the B word, but Rashida wasn't having it. And I'm like, Jeff, you just called your wife basically out of her name, and you're not doing nothing to protect her. I could never be in a relationship or a marriage with a man who doesn't protect me in any way, shape, or form, whether that's emotionally, physically, mentally. Franklin also asked the pastor to pray for his wife, but you told Rashida that she wasn't allowed in the room. So after that whole situation with Franklin, right, Pastor Jeff starts arguing with Rashida, and he tells Myron to take Rashida home, because this is not the way that she's supposed to act as a first lady. And Rashida's basically like, I roll with you, I'm leaving with you. Pastor Jeff goes back to pray for Franklin's wife, and Myron steps up to talk to Rashida, and Rashida's not trying to talk to him. And we see Franklin and Pastor Jeff go in the room, and they pray for Franklin's wife, and Franklin and Pastor Jeff have a conversation on the side. Franklin's like, I don't understand why Rashida would want to be associated with somebody like that. They shouldn't be friends. And for that reason, I can't give you the money. Because if you want to associate with her, you can't associate with me. We see Bridget finally make it home from dropping William off. And she comes in the house and Von's sitting there playing the game. And Von starts apologizing for how he acted, and he's like, I was wrong, I shouldn't have acted like that. I know our relationship is a problem for you because of our age difference, and I should have acted better, and I won't go around your friends until you're ready to announce us. I thought it was very mature of him to do until he ruined the moment by telling Bridget that he loved her and gave her some fake flowers from the bathroom upstairs. Back in the car with Pastor Jeff, of course Pastor Jeff is mad that he's not getting the money now, and he's blaming Rashida for it. Rashida's like, don't turn this around on me, but you also can't blame me for some money that you was never gonna get in the first place. Pastor Jeff was like, of course I was gonna get it. Rashida's like, no you wasn't. You was just doing that to patronize Naomi. You weren't getting that $5 million. I don't know why you thought you was gonna get $5 million out of him anyway when you were trying to sell the painting for $10. The only reason you went up to $5 million was to get under Naomi's skin. So they finally make it home and Jeff gets out the car without saying a word to Rashida. He don't even open the door for her. He just goes inside the house. It's dark outside and you don't even make sure that your wife gets in the house safely. What kind of man are you? Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your bell notifications. Bye!